hello, and good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another book talk with Cindy here at Eight Letters Bookstore and Publishing. I hope you guys are having an amazing Saturday. We are launching three books today. Yes, so with about a month before the Manila International Book Fair, we are introducing a lot of books to you guys. So for today, we have actually three poetry collections. So one is by Carlo Sevilla, one is by Mark Agustin Lee, and another book collection from Danica Hinson. So we're very excited to talk to them today. But of course, before that, we are going to talk a little bit of housekeeping muna. So as I've mentioned, we're going to have two major book fairs for this year. So the up and coming one is in Davao. So Wrong Words by Danica will have its first appearance there. So just check us out as SMX at SMX Davao during the Philippine Book Fair, which is organized by the National Book Development Board, and of course the Manila International Book Fair. That this is a fair that we have been joining since forever. So this is a big fair, a big event for all of us. So I want to invite you guys to please mark your calendars, visit us. We're going to be at Aisle I, if I remember it correctly, booth 266. So that's Aisle I, booth 266. So this one is going to be held at SMX Convention Center, which is near Mall of Asia. So it's just, walking distance lang doon. And, it'll be fun to have you there. Like a lot of our authors will be flying into Manila as well. So that's going to be a big event for all of us. So, okay, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our first book for today. So as you can see in the caption, we're going to launch three books. The first one is Recumbent by Karlo Sevilla. So before we get him on stage, I'm going to introduce read a few information about the author. So Karlo Sevilla of Quezon City, Philippines, is the author of the full-length poetry collection Metro Manila Mama, okay, by Soma Publishing last 2018, and the smaller collections You, which is by Origami Poems Project last 2017 and outsourced from Revolt magazine. So he's been published, he's published a lot of collections in the past. So recognized among the best of Kitab 2018, shortlisted for the 2021 Oxford Brookes International Poetry Competition, and twice nominated for the Best of the Net. His poems appear in Philippine Graphics, Philippines Free Press, Protein, Diagram, Radius, Better Than Starbucks, Exist Otherwise, and Elsewhere. Wow, this author, um, no wonder when I first read the collections, I'm like, okay, this one is good. Let's proceed with this. Okay, so we'll hear more about this collection. So, Carl, are you here? Carlo, hi.
Hello, good afternoon,
Good afternoon.
Cindy. And
I
yeah, thank you for the compliment, the acceptance, and the publication. And also, good afternoon to my co authors this afternoon, Mark Agustin and Danica, and to all those who are watching us during our book talk.
Yes, very
Okay.
excited to have you here, Carlo, because it looks like na ang dami mo nang na-publish in the past. But, okay, I want to bring the attention of our audience to the book Recumbent. I'm going to show the book cover right now. So this is very interesting. Cover pa lang, ulam,
Yeah,
ulam na.
yeah,
Yeah, so
yeah,
it is a zine. So it's only 160 pesos. You can get it now on our
yeah.
website. But what's so interesting about Recumbent, Carlo? Can you tell us more about this collection?
Yes. So earlier this year, or first half of this year, I was seriously considering to have another collection published. And so I've been watching videos, reading articles on publishing another poetry collection, although I've had three previously already. And then napansin ko nga na importante na i-consider na yung there must be something in common among the poems
Mm.
and that para may narrative arc, so para may kwento ka when you arrange them, right? Or may unifying theme, malungkot, masaya, whatever, and among other factors, musicality. And to be honest, I was quite frustrated kasi naisip ko, hindi ba pwedeng chronological order na lang based on the date you finished writing each one or based on the on when they were published. Ganun kasimple lang kasi sabi ko, kailangan ba talaga ng ganung considerations. But eventually, I considered na maghanap ng common theme and
Mm.
I noticed na some of my poems were, I would say, mainly about the human body
Mm.
lying down and
Mm.
either either voluntarily or ika nga laid down, especially when somebody unfortunately harms you and puts you in that position, into that vulnerable position. And so, yeah, I collected them and I submitted this the manuscript to various publishing houses, and I'm so happy that the manuscript was accepted by a Philippine-based publishing house, and that is of course Eight Letters, yeah, bookstore and publishing house. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Karlo. Yes, indeed, napaka-competitive na ngayon when it comes
Mhm.
to poetry collections, and
Mm.
people tend to read yun nga, yung usual, yung meron ng themes,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Parang gusto nila like, okay, if I'm going to read one thing, kailangan yung kasunod nun, parang
yeah,
may ano pa, may kasunod pa.
yeah,
Okay?
yeah.
So, yeah, but then like of all the subjects, why recumbent? Why the subject of paghiga in
Yeah,
Tagalog?
I think I realized rather belatedly sa pagharap ng
Mhm.
tema na this position, this
Mm.
this position of the human body is, I would say, very important. And at the risk of sounding risque, we do pleasurable things lying down, and a lot of things happen to us. Yes, lying down.
Not
So I
just
think it's
pleasurable
nice,
things.
and not just pleasurable things. In fact, in my collection, there's a poem, and I'm going to read it later. There's a poem about undergoing torture, lying down. So I would say it's special, and it's about time to focus on human this particular position that the human body assumes, I would say, naturally and quite regularly, of course, when we sleep, especially and rest. Yeah. So I'm I'm happy to
Oo.
have come up with a collection based on this, I would say, theme or
Mm.
topic. Yes.
Yes, it's
or
very original. It's very
thank
original.
you.
I mean, for me, I yes, indeed pleasurable things. I watch Netflix. I cry lying down. I would prefer to lie down because it takes a lot of energy.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
how's your process in working out the poetry collection in Recumbent? Was
I
it that hard, or where did you get the inspiration?
ah well, these poems, when I wrote them, each time I write a poem, at the back of my mind, I always have the intention to gather them in one collection. But when I was writing each one of the poems here, I wasn't yet aware of the similarities or the commonality na ika nga mainly about lying down, or lying down or laid down. So laid down passive, lying down I would say is actively or voluntarily. So but when I finally collected them, yes, of course, I think I already found out what I wanted to focus on. So all my previously published poems, among them, I chose the ones which were, I would say, preponderantly about lying down. And so, yeah, I was able to gather them now and submitted them. Tapos, after submission, actually, may napansin ako na ibang poems pa na about this position din, about lying down. But I would say they're too happy. So I would say maybe subconsciously, I was looking for poems that are mostly uh, dark, I would say,
Mm-mm.
quite
Mm-hmm.
serious. Yes,
Right.
I think.
Pero,
Mm,
pero sa tingin mo, like, are you the type of person, like, of all the collections that you have published in the past, ganito
mm.
ba palagi yung team? Or is Recumbent is, parang siya lang yung naiiba? Ano ba yung
I would say
sa
I
mga iba mo na publish?
yes. Okay, about themes. Yung the first one, yung which which is a micro chapbook, only 6 poems there, published in the US by Origami Poems Press. There were 6 short love poems,
Mm-hmm.
and also quite dark. And then the next one in 2018, Metro Manila Mammal. I, what did I consider as the I would say unifying theme for the collection?
Okay lang kung wala. Pero kung meron naman.
Yes, I'm trying to remember. Alam ko meron eh, kaya it's been
Oo,
years.
oo.
So I would say, according to my own standard, my medium-sized poems. Ang pagkatanda ko lang, basta I left
Mm,
out the very short poems of mine, and so these were the medium-sized poems. And many of them, I believe, were I would call politically
mm.
oriented. Yes, and but for Recumbent, I think how shall I say this? This is very special for me because I think I really zoned into something that it seems it seems that no other poet have focused on.
Mhm, mhm.
This
Oo,
the body being recumbent. So
mm.
yes.
That's true. So for you, Carlo, your journey na you first published muna like in the US and then in
Mhm.
Manila and then now local publishing. So ikaw ba palagi ka bang like would you describe yourself as a poet? Like have you tried exploring other um forms of writing?
Yes. I've I anyway before I got my first collection of poems published, I actually worked as a journalist, and if I and I wrote mostly sports news, and it was for the Philippine Online Chronicles, which is now defunct. Unfortunately, I couldn't find any of my articles or my colleagues' articles on the internet. So the Philippine Online Chronicles was the online news website of the Vibal Foundation in
Oh.
2010. Yes, and unfortunately, there it's gone. So
Oh.
yes, I was into journalism, I would say,
Wow. And then
and also
is this your
yeah.
full-time job? Is this your full-time job?
Bef- uh, uh, Yeah, that was my full-time job from 2010 up to early 2011, I believe. And then I did some freelance writing, yes.
Mm.
But
Oo.
about poetry, uh, I was first published way back in 1998 in Philippines Free Press. And
Mhm.
then I wrote some more poems. But then, how shall I say? Then I stopped writing
Uh-huh.
poetry. And then uh, but through the years, I still wrote, but not, I would say, not that seriously until in 2015. I sent some poems to Philippines Graphic. They were published, and then I would say I got bit by the writing bug again,
Bug.
or the poetry writing bug, and I kept
Oo.
writing and writing. And fortunately, that I got published in various literary magazines and platforms. So and I collected them, and now I'm here with Recumbent with, as you said, cover pa lang ulam na.
Oo, cover pa lang ulam na.
Yeah.
So Carlo, can you read us an excerpt? By the way, can we talk a little bit about this excerpt? Na bakit ito yung napili mo?
Sure. Uh, to be honest, I chose the this is a small collection, Recumbent, and so I chose the
Mm.
small ones. And I think the readers upon purchase can be the longer ones. But at the same
Okay.
time, I think these three will show they are varied. So I think the those who are interested will I hopefully will realize that I'm quite I would how shall I say this? I can write in different styles
Uh-huh.
there. And yeah,
Okay,
and yes,
sige, let's.
and I think and yes, and one by one, I'll give a little background on which is also why I chose these three. Okay, so
Okay. Whenever you're ready.
so this first one, the title is Because Fighting Was His Element. So this was published way back in 2016 in I Am Not a Silent Poet online journal. This is a really a political poetry journal. And this poem was inspired by a story I heard about a victim of martial law who was tortured. So here we go. Uh, because fighting was his element. When he was first caught, they laid him supine on cold floor, and with the boots on, repeatedly jumped on his chest until a rib cage broke and pierced lung collapsed. But he never squealed, not another's whereabouts compromised, nor a single real name revealed. There, so that's the first one.
Ayun. Don't judge the book by its cover. So parang medyo daring kasi yung cover,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
as what we can hear from Karlo right now, it's actually a different story. Ayan.
yeah. But
Ayan.
but I think this is an exception. Actually, I
Mm-mm,
think there
mm-mm,
are two political poems here, overtly political poems. I think. Yes.
mm-mm, mm-mm. Okay, are you going to read another one or
Okay,
ito na po?
sure. This
Sige,
is
sige,
the
sige.
shortest in the collection, and it's untitled actually. This was published in a Haiku Universe journal, and as the name suggests or tells, it's a journal for haikus and short poems. I wouldn't consider this a traditional haiku, but it's pretty short and it only has 3 lines. Okay, so here we go. Untitled, I'm here fallen where even shadows dare not fall. That's all.
Ayun. So actually sabi nila pag nagbabasa ka daw ng haiku, you repeat it twice. So, sorry, can you
Sure,
repeat?
sure, sure. No
Okay,
problem. I didn't know that. Thank you for
mm.
telling me that. Okay, one more. I'm here, fallen, where even shadows dare not fall.
Wow. There.
There.
Fallen. Ayan. So let that sink in, dear
Yes.
readers. Okay. Well, so when for Carlo, are we going to expect another collection from you in the future? Do you think you're going to write like something similar of a collection in the future?
Yes. Right now, Cindy, my orientation is to gather all my previously published poems, but I still do not know if I'll be focusing on a certain genre or theme, which I would later collect into a book. But currently, let me just share. So I had my uncle
Mm-hmm.
offered to publish my poems because she has a printing house. It's not really a publishing house, a printing house
Mm-hmm.
that prints advertisements, tarpaulins. So and it's a collection of shape poems,
Mm. Oh, shape poems.
yes. And I also have I would say an editor friend in the US. I
Mm.
might submit some a collection of political poems to his publishing house. So all of
Mm-mm.
these are previously published, I would say. And yes, right now, thank you for asking. I'd like to
Uh-oh.
write new poems and gather them. Hopefully, they'll have a narrative arc or universal theme and submit them to 8 letters.
We're very much
There.
looking forward to that. Hindi pa naman tayo nagtatapos. We still have a few more minutes.
Okay.
For may nag-comment lang dito from Sir Ron, Recumbent, meant to be red line down. All incumbent poet lovers must read this.
Why not? Why not?
Okay,
Pero
why not?
nakakangawit magbasa ng nakahiga, no?
Oo,
Pansin ko,
oo.
may stain sa back.
Yeah,
Pero why not?
yeah.
Read
Well,
it with somebody else, right?
exactly. Nagsusulat ka ba ng nakahiga, Carlo?
I would say kung nakahiga, ako'y nag-iisip lang ng mga linya sa aking ulo. Pag ako'y magsusulat na,
Mm-mm.
kadalasan sa laptop. Ako'y
Oo, para
umuupo, ako'y
diretsyon.
tas nagta-types, nagtitipa sa laptop. Yes.
Ayun, diretso type na lang para
Yes.
i-edit
Yes.
na rin doon. Okay.
Yes.
So, Carlo, do you have a favorite, um, or maybe it's, let's say, least favorite naman from this collection?
Least favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Sige. Anyway, they are only 17 poems. Okay, here, sabihin na lang natin na I'm quite ambivalent about this one because para siyang listahan lang eh. Para siyang, ang tawag nito, case file lang. And when I submitted this, sabihin na natin may konti pa akong narration, and then
Mm-hmm.
it was longer, and then it was published, but I would say, with all due respect to the editor of the journal, it's a crimes journal, a journal for crime poetry, I would say. Medyo iniksaan ng editor. Okay. Ako naman pumayag dahil, to be honest, I wanted to be published. Umuha niya ako, sure. But then I had the regret, post-publication regret. Maybe we can call it that. Now, kinabaan ko siya for this collection, but I still think it's a poem. I still think it's good. But since you asked, Cindy, yes, I'm quite ambivalent about this poem. It just, para lang siyang case file ng isang biktima ng extrajudicial killing noong Oplan Tokhang. But I think,
Oh, oo.
paninindigan ko pa rin, dahil nasama ito sa collection ko, na tula pa rin siya kahit paano.
Sige, sige. Is that
Yes.
long or pwede mong basahin?
Yeah, it's quite simple, very short. And may I ask Cindy that I'd like to read another one after this because I promised my co-writer na babasahin ko yung tula namin ginawa after this. Okay, thank
Sure,
you.
sure, sure. Sige,
So
go
here's
ahead.
the poem. This one was published. Let me acknowledge the publisher. Please wait for a moment, Cindy, as I go through the acknowledgement part. This was published in the 5-2. It's a journal for poems about crimes. So way back in October 24, it was published October 24, 2016. Okay, and the title is Crime Board. I'm sorry. Cardboard Justice / Philippine Dawn. So this is about isa yata ito sa mga unang natokhang, alam ko, sa Pangasinan eh. Batang babae na nakita na tinatakpan ng cardboard, natakip ng cardboard. So ito lang, so the poem. Crime, extrajudicial killing, suspects, policemen / vigilantes, age of victim 17, sex of victim female, cause of death torture, crime scene, sidewalk, other details, placard rather, other details, sorry, placard on breasts reads, drug pusher, don't imitate. Yun lang.
So, yeah, I can see why that's your least favorite.
Yes, it reinforces the feeling too.
Yeah,
There.
okay.
And if I may, Cindy, so
Go ahead,
this
go ahead.
now this one that I really like, maybe the one I like the most. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
this poem started as a tweet. So yes, some short poems that I write, I post on Twitter. So, and then that the poet the poet, the poet child of my deceased friend. If you're familiar, Cindy, si Tado Jimenez, yung namatay na komedyante and TV personality noon, si Tado. Bali, siya yung kaibigan
Yeah.
ko. And
Oh,
and his children, all of his children are very artistic. So, nung pinost ko yung tula na ito, it's a quatrain. So, yeah, 4 lines, quatrain. Nag-respond siya with her own quatrain. And then
oh,
eventually, sinabit ko sa isang online platform to na publish. So we consider this as our collaborative poem. So first stanza rather, mine, 4 lines, and the second stanza, also 4 lines, are hers.
okay.
Okay, so that
Oh,
means title
sige.
Black Dog. Okay, let me say, first stanza. Black dog doesn't bark. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me also say another thing about this. This is the only, I believe, rhyming poem in the collection, and that's why I also chose this to show that yeah, I also write in rhymes. Okay, so let me
Okay.
read now. Okay, black dog. Black dog doesn't bark. I've heard it already. Black dog doesn't bite. The marks are still here. What black dog does is peer 6 feet above me. Second stanza. Black dog tussles up the sheets it ain't allowed on. Black dog keeps me up at midnight, gets its loud on. Black dog, white tricks, gotta teach him daily. Black dog doesn't bark 6 feet above me. So that's my poem with Miss Henry Diosa Jimenez, the child of Tado Jimenez. There. Ay, I'm sorry.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, so that
Yeah.
was an amazing poem. Thank you. Collaborative. So it just shows na there are many ways on how to work out a poem. Pwedeng collaborative, pwedeng yun nga
Yeah.
nakahiga or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Oo. Oo, or pwedeng nakalista lang or tulad
Yes.
nung binasa mo kanina. You know, it
Yes.
really teaches us na you know, poems, ang dami kasing poetry collection ng 8 letters and
Mhm.
sometimes it's so difficult to really go through them one by one. Ano ba pinakamaganda dito? Like, you know, sometimes like from the publisher's point of view, like it can be like really tough, like picking them. But of course, we know the poems by heart. So we
Yeah.
know that, oh, okay, you know, if you want a theme that's about lying down, not
Yeah.
not all are pleasurable. You can go
Mhm.
with recumbent. So yeah, you know
Yes.
that's how we go around it.
Yes.
So of course, where else can we follow you, Karlo, for you know future works, future books, kung may appearances ka ba, book
Yeah.
signing, etc.
Uh, right now, I'm just focused on Recumbent, and my Twitter is Carlo Sevilla 2 at Carlo Sevilla 2. Yes, that's my Twitter handle.
Yeah, as in
And
like two, number two, right?
number 2, yeah, the digit
Ah,
2, yeah, Carlo
okay.
Sevilla 2 at yes. And about lying down, yes, I when I write a poem lying down, yeah, yes, 2 nights ago, using with my cell phone, lying down,
Oo.
I write short ones, I would say.
Oo. Ayan. So I think there's no excuse for future poets out there. We, you know, there's definitely a possibility of just, you know, writing a few lines when lying
Yes,
down or wherever you are. So
yes.
yun. Thank you so much, Carlo. And once again, guys, if you haven't ordered yet, actually we've already received orders from abroad.
Thank
Yan.
you.
Ang daming
Thank
readers
you.
ni Carlo. If
Thank
you
you.
haven't got your orders yet, please go to our website, 8lettersbooks.com/shop. And soon this will also be available on our Shopee and Lazada. So that's a zine. It's going to be in cream paper. It's going to have a matte cover. So it'll give you a pleasurable read for sure. Yeah, thank you so much, Carlo. And we're very
So
much looking forward for your next book, maybe standing up naman,
yeah,
hindi
yeah.
na lying down.
Pwede. Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yes, there you go. There you have it. Thank you so much,
Thank you so
Carlo.
much.
All right.
You.
Bye. Chat
Bye.
soon. Okay, so we just had Carlos Sevilla, the author of Recumbent. So up next, we'll have Mark Agustin Lee, the author of, well, I'll show you that in a second, author of Paracosm of Serendipity. There you go. Yeah, so it's, yeah, there you have it. Paracosm of Serendipity. It firstly appeared in the Cebu Lit Fest last week at Ayala. So we'll have the author joining us in a few. We'll just take a minute break. Okay, we'll just take a minute break and we'll be back. So just stay tuned. Stay tuned. Okay, so sabi ko nga, just a minute lang. So up next, we'll have the author Mark Agustin Lee. So the author of Paracosm of Serendipity. Again, another poetry collection. And of course, the reason why we'll have him here is for him to introduce us to this collection. So it's unlike the zine, this is quite of a thick book. Okay, a collection that explains the price, 477. Um, Let me read the description before we get him on stage. So, in this realm of wonder lived a boy named Serendipity, whose heart was filled with constant curiosity. He explored every corner of his paracosm with glee, diving into the depths he found treasures aplenty. So one day, as he wandered through a forest of green, he stumbled upon an old book, tattered and unseen. Its pages were full of mysteries. Serendipity knew this could lead to something swell, so he took the book and tucked it under his arms and set off on a journey to unravel its charm. As he walked, he read the pages with care until suddenly his surroundings began to change. He can see all of his dreamt future through the trees and its possibilities. And in that moment, he realized the power of serendipity, that sometimes the things we find are not by our own affinity, but by chance or fate. They come into our path and lead us to discoveries beyond what we ever had. So, without further ado, let's get Mark Agustin Lee on stage. Hi, Mark.
And hello po. Ayan,
Ayan.
good afternoon everyone.
Good afternoon. Ayan, okay na ang ating internet connection. So, there you go. Paracosm of Serendipity. Mark, can you tell us more about this book? Na anong pagkakaiba nito sa iba pang poetry collections out there?
So, Paracosm of Serendipity, it's supposed to be a novel actually. So, meron akong ginawang working draft ng title na to, Paracosm of Serendipity. But then suddenly, meron akong nabasang isang novel book sa Wattpad, and then napukaw niya yung attention ko. So, sabi ko, why not itry ko muna tong novel na to? Ay, ang poetry na to. So, habang nag-iisip ako, itong mga poems na nagawa ko nung una pa lamang, sabi ko pwede ko siyang mapasok dito sa title. And ayun, medyo gawa siya sa emotion, deep emotion ng pagkatao ko actually. So, ang pinagkaiba nito sa ibang libro, it has two parts actually. So, meron siyang life lesson na personal life lesson ko talaga na galing sa experience ko. And yung mga life realization ko habang nag-grow ako, going to my end goal, pursuing my dreams, na napansin ko, hindi pala lahat papabor sa'yo. So, habang na iisip ko yung mga possibilities, talagang sinusulat ko siya agad. And then, nilalagay ko siya sa working draft ko. So, ayun po.
So, one line struck me there. Sabi mo, hindi lahat pala ay papabor sa'yo. So, was it like, akala mo, like, in the beginning, of course, I understand. I believe you're one of the youngest here. I actually felt the same. I don't know if you look young, but I feel that you're, you're young. And I was the same when your age, na akala ko lahat papabor sa akin. Like, the world is my oyster. Kaya ko to lahat. So, what was the realization when you realized na, well, hindi lahat papabor sa'yo? Was it like, did it motivate you even more?
Actually, at first, no. Really, it's really a downside to me. And habang tumatagal, naisip ko, bakit ako panghihinaan ng loob? Nandito na ako. Ang dami ko nang pinagdaanan sa buhay ko eh. No, tas susuko pa ba ako? No? Kaya may part siya dito sa book ko na medyo may tawag nito? May patiwakal side na ako noon eh. Kaya napasama siya dito sa libro. But then,
trigger warning.
Wag na akong mag-give up. Yes, wag na akong mag-give up. Ituloy ko na lang. Malay mo, mayroong si God talaga na para sa akin, nakaplano na.
Mm-mm. Ayun.
Mm.
So, okay, so
Mm.
Paracosm of Serendipity, you mentioned also earlier na, yung about sa Wattpad. So, ikaw ba, nag-start ka ba sa Wattpad as a writer?
Hindi po. Reader lang ako
Mm-hmm.
ng Wattpad before.
Okay.
And, ayun, sige.
Oo. How did you get to this journey na yun nga na writer ka na you managed to compile or write an entire book?
Mm.
Mm.
Actually, nagbe-base lang din po ako sa emotions ko. Kasi hindi naman po ako
Mm-mm.
kagaya ng ibang writer na on the spot nakakapagsulat sila, ang galing nga nila eh. Idol ko sila eh. Hindi ako ganun,
Mm.
hindi ko kayang makipag-competition sa kanila na on the spot, no? Mga one-shot stories, ganyan. Ako,
Oo.
makakapagsulat ako kung sobrang saya ko, sobrang lungkot. Andun yung emotion
Mm.
talaga. So, kaya,
Mm.
based din sa emotion ko, yung susulat ko, kung ano yung nasusulat kong ano.
Oo. So would you say na this is very personal to you?
Yes.
Is it some sort of a therapeutical yung writing itself therapeutical for you?
Sort of, yes.
Sort of. Okay, and then anong naging pakiramdam mo nung nakatapos ka ng isang collection na to?
Partly masaya and
Oo.
accomplished. Kasi, hindi lahat ng writer nakakapagpa-publish eh. And
Oo.
actually, at first, nung sa first book ko na Best Friday Ends, tinry ko lang talaga siya. Sabi ko, gusto ko din ma-experience maging isang author. So, pinurso ko
Mm.
yung first book ko hanggang sa mag-came up ako dito sa second book. So, ayun, masaya
Mm.
pala.
Mm. Oo. Can we talk about that first book pala?
Mhm.
What is it? What is it about? Best Friday Ends. Is it a novel?
It's short story about
Mm-hmm.
these two best friends na si boy and si girl na
Mm-mm.
magkaklase sila before and then nagkahiwalay sila for a certain
Mm-mm.
year and then nagka nagkita ulit sila.
Mm-hmm.
But then yung tadhana parang pinaglaruan sila na nagkita sila para silang na-inlove sa isa't isa but then suddenly na-realize nila hindi pala sila para sa isa't isa. No, parang
Mm-hmm.
ginawa lang silang key para ma-develop yung sarili nila, nakamove on sa
Mm-hmm.
buhay, ganyan.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then sorry, going back, well, at least okay, so that's your short story muna, short story na na-published, and then this time naman you originally sabi mo novel dapat to, but then naging
Mm-mm.
poetry siya. So I want to know, have you always wanted to be a writer, or was it because yun nga, so sobrang nagbabasa ka na I also want to be a writer? And
Actually,
okay.
sige. Gusto ko
Mm-mm.
naman po talaga maging writer at the
Mm-mm.
very first, no? Kasi kagaya na lang nung idol ko sa Wattpad, si Miss April Avery.
Mhm.
So, pero
Mhm.
hindi ko pa siya na-meet na. Pero naa-amaze ako sa mga writings niya na ang galing, sumikat siya agad. Sabi ko, gusto ko din maging ganito. So, simulan ko muna sa sa beginning stage, magpo-poetry muna ako bago ako magsabak sa novel.
Mhm, mhm. Oh, okay. So parang feeling mo ba mas mahirap yung novel?
Ang haba din po kasi.
Mahaba kasi yung novel. Okay. Well, okay. So maybe, Mark, can you read, parang may copy ka dyan ng book mo, di ba?
Mm.
Are you able to show that to us? Ayan,
Kung
ewan ko lang
makikita
kung
sa
parang hindi siya makikita.
hindi.
Oo, yun nga, hindi siya kita. So yun, maybe Mark, can you read an excerpt from the book para naman magkaroon ng idea yung mga nanonood sa atin ngayon? Like, what is it like? What's the content of the book like?
Okay. So, this is one of my favorite poems that I wrote, no? It's called Inverted Time. So, ayan. Inverted Time. In the beginning, when the time was infinite, I was reckless, excited, impulsive, and impatient, not knowing that future isn't defined I was fragile and innocent, wishful thinking to achieve anything, to become everything. And now I am older. Timeless becomes time. I grow bolder, I grow colder, and now I am conscious. Life makes me nauseous. And with an end insight, everything is now visible and realizes everything is not viable. Now I'm wishful thinking to reverse the time back in the beginning. So, ayan.
Ayan. So it's sort of like a poem that talks about regret. Maybe can
Yes.
you tell us like paano mo nasulat ito? Like in which part of your journey na you managed to write this
Ah,
poem?
sige. Na one time kasi, naiisip ko, binabalikan ko din kasi yung mga past ko, parang ang saya din maging bata, sabi kong gano'n. So, na-realize ko na nung mga bata kami, kahit yung ibang nanonood dito, yung mga bata sila, di ba? Gusto nilang agarin yung pagtanda nila kasi iniisip nila yung pagtanda nila, walang limit na magagawa nila lahat ng gusto nila, mag-travel, makain yung gusto nila. But then, nung nandun na sila sa stage na matanda na sila, no, may, sa growing age nila, doon nila marirealize na, ay nasayang ko yung kabataan ko sa pag-iisip ng future ko na ganito pala. Hindi ko pa rin pala lahat makukuha. So there is a certain limit pa rin. Ayun, kaya nandun yung regret na sana na-enjoy ko yung kabataan ko. Ganun.
Mm. Mm. Okay. So, ano ba yung mga masasabi nating content ng book? So, kanina na-mention mo na, okay, it's sort of therapeutic for you. You poured in all of your emotions here. So, ngayon naman nagbasa ka about regret. And then you also mentioned yung nag-try, when you tried ending it all. Like, was there a positive tulad ng kaninang pinag-usapan namin ni Karlo, like something pleasurable. Was it something pleasurable dito na subject sa book mo?
Yeah, meron.
Meron.
So
Okay.
actually, marami din naman talaga. No, kagaya na
Mga
lamang,
50%.
50-50 siya actually.
50-50.
Sana.
Oo. Kasi like, I mean, yung title, di ba, is Serendipity. Parang, I mean, it's, the word itself, it's used in, let's say, sa romance novels or romance movies, usually. So, yun like the word itself. So, what would you say na something positive from the book na pwedeng mabasa or ma-pick up ng mga nagbabasa nito?
Dun sila pupunta sa part 2. Kasi dito sa part 2, hindi na siya really poetry, no? Ano na siya, parang life realization na talaga siya. And
Okay.
I guess everyone will can relate here dito sa part 2. Lalo na dun sa part ng anger sa last two page ng libro.
Oo.
Basahin ko lang siya.
Sige, go ahead.
Anger. Your anger is a piece of you that perceives that you have been abused and manhandled. It perceives that you should be dealt with decently and adoration. Your fury is a caring piece of you. So, ayun. Naalala ko din kasi yung isang reader ko na nagbigay siya ng review, sabi niya naka-relate siya sa part nitong anger. Ay, natuwa naman ako. Bakit? Sabi, tinanong ko siyang ganun. Sabi niya, madali din kasi ako magalit. Naka-relate ako na sabi mo doon, abuse. So, na-abuse din daw siya before. And then, yun nga, sabi niya, may nakilala siyang isang tao na pag nakikita siyang galit, doon na, yun yung sign doon sa tao na yun na, kailangan ko tong bigyan ng tamang pagmamahal, tamang pag-aaruga, yung gano'n.
Nice. Sana all. Okay. Okay. Well, sa tingin mo, Mark, sino sa tingin mo yung mga dapat magbasa ng libro mo?
Mga 21st century readers, mga from age 18 to 30 years old can relate in this book.
Oo, hindi na
Estimate
ako
ko.
pwede
Kasi
magbasa
yung mga
nito.
karamihan kasi lalo na sa mga thunders kung tawagin.
Oh,
May
grabe ka
isang
naman.
hindi naman po, pero kasi may yung isang professor ko na isa rin sa financer nitong libro. May ibang part na dito sa libro na to, hindi talaga siya makarelate. Sabi niya, ano ba to? Hindi ko maintindihan tong ano na to. Iba talaga yung generasyon yung mga kabataan. Kaya ginaganon niya ako. So, ayun.
Oo. Ito naman po yung financer na to. Parang di naman po kayo dumaan sa ganitong journey. Ako, at least nakarelate ako kahit wala na ako sa age range na sinabi mo. Pero, yun nga, Mark, like, I think, na kahit nasa ang chapter ka ng buhay mo, I mean, you should be able to, I mean, may ano tayo may makaka-relate tayo, and at the same time, may mapipick up tayo na baka pwedeng ibang approach lang na, as we grow older. Pero, well, the point here is, pwede namang like beyond 30, makapagbasa din ito. But syempre, dahil nga sa may mga trigger warning, of course, we recommend na dapat, pag binasa mo to, you have an open mind, and, you're guided. If, for example, if you're below 18, you're guided by someone na bago mo siya basahin. Ayan. Para ingat-ingat din tayo. Okay. So, tulad ng tanong ko kanina kay Karlo, do you have a least favorite of all the entries here sa Paracosm of Serendipity?
Yes, actually.
Oh, and why is that? Bakit mo pa siya sinama? Okay, joke lang. Bakit mo siya why is it the least favorite?
Yun yung poetry na nasulat ko nung time na medyo patiwakal stage ako. Kaya yun yung least favorite ko.
Oh, okay. But then, of course, okay, so, do you want to read a part of that? Ganyan. Or konti lang. Kasi, least favorite tapos yun nga may trigger warning. Sa mga nanonood sa atin ngayon, please, cover your ears if you're feeling unwell.
Below 18 years old, wag naman.
Oo. Sige.
Ayan,
And then,
yes.
okay, go ahead.
Kaunting linya lang naman to. If I am fated of leaving soon, I will meet God in His bright room. I'll be rejoicing when my face, my doom. I will watch you there every noon and hoping that you will see me soon. So, hanggang dun lang.
Wow. Oh, so I can feel there's anger, there's revenge sa part na yun. Okay, got it. Okay, so Mark, what are you like looking at the future? Like are you thinking of writing another collection, or do you think na you're able to transition na into novelist?
Actually, I'm planning to write a novel na po. Mayroon na rin po akong ginagawang working draft.
Okay. Right. Is it what's the genre like?
Romance, actually. It's a
na.
romance novel.
Ayun. And sorry, going back into Paracosm of Serendipity, would you say na nagkaroon ka ng character development dito sa book?
Not totally.
Okay.
Not totally. Hindi ako ganun nag-grow nung nailabas ko lahat dito sa libro. Pero nakagaan siya ng pakiramdam ko na nabawasan yung bigat.
Okay.
Kahit
Ayun. And then, well, I guess, usually, sa pagsusulat, like what we advised our writers, 50% pa lang is yung pagsusulat, and 50% is more of like the marketing stuff, all the all that goes along with being an author. May appearances and kung ano-ano pa. So, maybe wala ka na sa part na yun. Maybe nandito ka na sa part na, I have to sell this book. I have to make the most out of this book. Kasi, I mean, this is your masterpiece pa rin, di ba?
Masasabi ko lang, bago sila maggawa ng draft nila, kahit draft man yan,
Mm.
Planuhin na muna nila, lista nila yung mga dapat nilang materials and equipment na kailangan, and then yung budget, of
Mm.
course. Kasi mabigat
Mm.
yung budget dito eh. Lalo na nung
Oo.
time na sabi ko, ay kakapusin pala ako. Kasi nag-set ako ng
Mm.
budget na hanggang dito lang dapat. Hindi siya
Mm.
lalagpas. But then nung pinablish ko na, pinaprint ko na siya, sabi ko, ay sumobra. Kahit na
Mm.
limited yung copies na pinroduce ko, ay susobra pala. So naghanap na ako ng mga financer ko. Yun yung
Oo,
papasok na
ayun.
mahirap na part talaga.
Oo, ayun. So, by the way, for all of those who are watching us right now, so Mark has self-published this collection, and it will also like apart from last week naging available siya sa Cebu Lit Fest, and available na rin siya sa mga platforms ng 8 letters. So that means sa Shopee, pati na rin sa Lazada and sa website namin. It will also appear sa Manila International Book Fair. Same with Karlo, okay? Carlos Recumbent. Yun. So, Mark, where else can we follow you? Para makita namin yung mga susunod mong updates. Kung meron ka mang book signings or appearances, saan ka namin pwede i-follow?
You can follow me on IG. So I have my
Mhm.
IG, Positivity Writings, and my Twitter account, Paracosm of Serendipity, my Facebook page,
Mhm.
author Mark Agustin Lee. Ayan.
Ayan. Thank you so much, Mark, for gracing Book Talk with Cindy today. Introducing your book, Paracosm of Serendipity. Teka, ilang pages nga ulit itong book na to?
132 pages.
Ayan. Makapal-kapal ng konti. Ayan. So, there you go, Paracosm of Serendipity for only 477 pesos. So it's available across 8 letters platforms. And there you go. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Ayan. Bilhin nyo na Paracosm of Serendipity. Okay? And then we'll have our last guest for today. Thank you, Mark.
Thank you po.
Bye-bye. Salamat. Ayan, so we just had Mark Agustin Lee, the author of Paracosm of Serendipity. So we'll just take a short break, a minute break, and we'll get Danica J.D. Hinson, the author of Wrong Words, up on stage. Okay, see you in a bit. All right. So for our final author guest for today, we'll have Danica J.D. Hinson. So we're going to launch. Okay, this is one of our traditional published books called Wrong Words. Wrong Words, a poetry and prose collection by Danica J.D. Hinson. So this is not the first book that she has with us. The first one was called Of Fools and Fantasy, and that was a zine. And this time, it's an entire collection na. But before we get Danica on stage, just a little bit of description muna. So we all want peace. Okay, sorry, let me reread that. one does not forgive and simply escape. We all want peace and to live a life basked in bliss, but to become a part of the world means risking the very things you innately desire. Peace, happiness, love suddenly confronts chaos, sadness, and hatred. But with a heart that forgives, one expects to be freed, right? A knock on the door, a surprise visit, an unwanted company. Something steps through the threshold and it's not anger. Wow, parang ito yung parang ito yung part 2 ng Paracosm of Serendipity, but it feels like to, let's ask Danica if meron na bang character development this time. Okay, so in this new collection of poetry, prose, and stories, Danica J. Dickinson pushes the boundaries of a good heart and what it means and what it takes. So without further ado, Danica, are you here? Hello?
Hello po. Okay.
Ayan. How are you?
Medyo nervous but I'm good.
Eh, hindi na to yung first time. But, Danica, tell us more about the book Wrong Words. Why is it Wrong Words in the first place?
So, yeah, Wrong Words is ayun nga, a collection of poetry, prose, and stories that mainly focuses on the emotion that's behind anger. Kasi sabi nila, anger is a secondary emotion. So there's always something going on behind anger when you're feeling angry. So parang Wrong Words is a reflection and a deeper dive into that emotion just so one can understand what he or she is really feeling at the moment.
Ayun, mabilis ka bang magalit? Do you?
Hindi naman mabilis magalit, pero siguro I was back in high school, mabilis ako magalit kasi super stressed.
Oo, stress ng high school. Oo, okay. So, well, for Wrong Words, okay, pag-usapan muna natin yung Awfuls and Fantasy. So, Awfuls and Fantasy, that was your first zine poetry collection. By the way, Danica, where are you based again?
I am based in Mindanao, Bukidnon.
Ayun. O, diba? So, by the way, attend si Danica ng ating Philippine Book Fair sa Davao. It's going to be
Yes.
on the 18th, this coming weekend.
I will be there on the 19th. Yeah.
Ayun, sa 19th. Okay, so, Danica, Awfuls and Fantasy, you've written a poetry collection back then, but this time, may process na. So, like, why suddenly, okay, I feel like this deserves process naman this time.
So, yeah, yung sinabi ko before in another interview, so it's really an accumulation sa lahat ng sinulat ko, an accumulation of poetry, prose, and my stories, very short, parang flash fiction. And sinama ko na siya kasi it fits the theme that I'm going for. So, in-include ko na siya sa Wrong Words. And I think it adds variety din sa book in a collection because I know there are still people who don't really like poetry and there are those who prefer parang the newer contemporary version of poetry. There aren't many rhymes. And then they prefer that compared to the traditional na parang very rhymed siya, may rhymes siya. So, ayun, sinama ko na lang siya kasi it fits the theme and inspired talaga siya sa mga books ni Lang Liav. Yun po.
Ayun. So, by the way, so there's Lang Liab. Okay. I also want to talk about wait a minute. I also want to talk about your podcast because you also recently launched that. Can we talk about that? Because like you're in episode 3 already, or was it episode 2?
Yeah. So episode 3 just came out this
Yun.
Monday. Was it this Monday or last week? I forgot. But it's we're at episode 3 already. It's really just an experimentation of what I can do that extends my writing career.
Mm-mm.
Ganun. So right now I'm still experimenting what I can do with a podcast, and maybe you can tell I'm not a very good speaker. So
No, don't say that.
I parang hindi na ako nasanay mag you could say public speaking kasi nga with all the COVID things that happened. So ayun, I guess it's also a way to improve my public speaking skills.
Uh-huh.
So yun.
So yun. So I would say this is an extension of yourself as a writer. So kung hindi pa kayo nakokontento sa pagbabasa, you can also listen to Danica while naghuhugas ng plato. That's also possible. So, yeah, in case you haven't checked it out yet, and if you want to know kung hindi pa kayo convinced na I don't think I'm not sure if I should buy this book, listening to Danica's podcast on YouTube, you can check her out on YouTube as well. You're able to get a grasp on the subject that she talks about, the world that surrounds her. Parang yun, nakakakuha ka na agad ng gist na, I feel like this is for me. So, if you're not convinced, otherwise, if you're convinced enough, you can get the book right away. It's only 380 pesos. That's also in cream paper and in matte cover. Okay, of course, it's printed in Cebu, published by 8 Letters. So, sorry, going back. Let's go back. Okay, balik tayo. So, pinag-usapan natin yung podcast mo, Dan, yung Awfuls and Fantasy. This time naman, let's focus on wrong words. So, kanina, while we were reading the blurb, na-mention natin na, okay, there's anger in it, but then, of course, there's also forgiveness. So, what's the type of inspiration that you got in writing this book?
So it is mostly derived from a lot of the people that I encountered throughout my life. So I guess you could say that ever since high school, parang, and I also hear this a lot from mga teachers that I'm more mature than my age, parang ganon. So as I go through my teenage years and then now, there are a lot of things that I did and I experienced with peers and with friends that I didn't like, pero I just let it go before. So parang ngayon, as I'm looking back and I'm reflecting, I'm just really trying to make sense of what I'm feeling, and para as a way so I will not have to hold on to that very negative na emotion.
Why do you think you matured quickly compared to your peers? Is it a writer thing?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I really don't know the reason why people think I'm more mature for my age. So that's I really don't know.
I mean, not a lot of people can produce a podcast at your age. So your level is like, I can see myself in you, Danica. Okay, sorry. Sorry. Let's move back to wrong words. Okay, so let's talk about the book cover, for instance.
Okay.
So why there's the butterfly?
Yeah, so the butterfly, yung pag-search ko ng symbolism ng butterfly, there are a lot of interpretations and I don't really see a fixed symbol for it na parang socially accepted by the general public. So I just place there a butterfly as a symbol of growth. And you can see it's a little foggy, ganon. So it's like growing through the fog. So you can interpret the fog as whatever thing that you are going through. So ganun siya.
I like it. I like it. It reminded me of, well, hello, Chris Santos. Before the before the pandemic, because like Chris Santos is also Tita Taro. So Tita Taro was like, nagpick siya ng card for me, and she said, you can navigate it. It's going to be dark, but then you can navigate around the darkness. So parang ganito yung metaphor na yun, and it's, yeah, it's very relevant to, kung ano man yung pinagdadaanan mo ngayon, be a butterfly. Ayun. Be a butterfly. So then can you read us an excerpt from your book para naman, as usual, magkaroon ng ideas yung mga nanonood sa atin ngayon.
Okay, so one of the things na napili ko is ito. This was, kasi na-mention ko na din yung high school life part ko. So, ito na lang. A reflection of what I thought about my high school years. So, it's entitled People. So, I'll read it. People have been praising me for too long, and I wish they didn't always. I wish they didn't let me take most of the spotlight without a fight. I wish I wasn't standing too far up on that ladder because when everyone thought I was untouchable, I thought everyone was unreachable. There.
Oh, wow. Oh gosh, Danica, are we twins? Well, oo, parang di ba sometimes when you reach that point na lagi na lang ikaw kino-congratulate, people think that it's so easy. Oh, parang wow, you did that. Parang, oh, congratulations. Like they're there. You'll see them when towards the finish line na, or when, after the finish line, but sometimes they don't really think about, oh, what got you there.
Yeah, and also, well, I don't know if I should say this, but I was a good student in high school, and parang na desensitize na yung people that, oh, you're the outstanding student, so parang expected na siya that I should be there on
Oh.
stage.
Mm-hmm.
So it's parang ganun siya, and it feels, as I look back, parang it's not as rewarding as I thought it would be.
Wow. That's a lot of wisdom there, people. If you haven't got that, ulitin ko na, sige, wag na lang. But, um, but yeah, so sometimes people expect a lot from you, lalo na pag nakita nila na, you've been doing that. And then that's a lot of pressure for someone na nasa high school, or you're in college, right?
Yeah.
So, well, that's so difficult. And I can't believe that you still managed to pull off this, writing this book, completing this collection. How many pages are there in this book?
Around, I think, 101 pages in
101.
total. Yeah.
Okay, very exact. So, okay, aside from forgiveness, aside from, anger, nagkaroon ng character development, like what sort of other themes, nag-touch base ka rin ba sa ibang themes? I mean, that's like about 100 pages.
So other themes that I touched on other than forgiveness and anger is the one that I just read recently, regret. So it is in a way regret because explain ko muna the one that I just read. So I would say it's regret because as I was parang always on stage, it kind of separated me from the rest of my peers. So in high school, parang they're kind of hesitant to approach me because ganun na, parang outstanding student ka, and they can't really connect with me in some way. So I guess my regret for that would be I wish I was able to connect more with my peers. And other things that I touched on is compassion, parang ganon, mga feelings of loneliness and sadness. So it's
So
very,
there's,
parang very dark-ish.
oo. But as we said earlier, di ba, meron pa rin character development like towards the end of the book. Because like you talk about forgiveness.
Yeah.
So are you still friends with those people in high school? Like, do you still see them?
We still, we don't really keep in touch kasi nga, busy na
Busy.
college, but wala namang hard feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I won't
Oo,
really
parang,
say na close, but yeah, I would still consider them friends. But then
mm-hmm,
you find other people that you can really connect with. So may mga friends na very close naman talaga ako.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So are you in which year in college na? And like what are you taking, by the way?
So I am in my second year
Mm-hmm.
taking Bachelor of Arts in English Language.
Wow. Okay. So ayan, you're on the right path. Okay. So you're on the right path. So do you feel like this is something that you'll do in your career? You wanna write more books in the future?
Yeah, definitely. I really began to dream about writing high school pa.
Uh-uh.
So, yeah, I've been planning to write a lot of books, hopefully. And you hope that it will help sustain you in the future.
I agree. Well, that was my question in the beginning as well. And then so do you feel you'll stick with poetry collections, or do you think you'll explore other genres later on?
Yeah, I will probably stick with poetry collection, but I am also planning to write novels. And yeah, I have a lot of backlogs of the things
Right.
that I wrote, so maybe I can revive those drafts and turn them into short story collection. Maybe we'll
Mm-hmm.
see.
Okay. Okay. All right. We'll see. So, um, well, I still have a lot of questions for you, Dan, but perhaps you can read another excerpt from the book. Ayan, para magkaroon pa tayo ng
Okay.
more ideas kasi it's a 100-page book. So, just imagine we're in a bookstore right now and, we pick that book, wrong words, and we start reading them. Ayan.
Sige. So this
Sige.
one is ito na a poetry na may rhyme na siya. One of my favorite ways to write a poem. So it's called Selfish Love. So it's my siguro hot take on what people would describe self-love as. So ito na. I will start reading. The world always told me to love me before anything else, caressed me with calloused hands, rough and cold but burned like hell. I am told I won't be loved until I learn to love myself. But the world continues to preach unconditional love or unconditional only to oneself. So I'm sorry to me, you, and everyone else. We won't be getting love in this life. We'll be endlessly digging up ourselves, looking for love we might never find. Until I am out in this abyss, from the black hole of my mind, no one will be able to find me, or is it no one will come find? So yun.
Oh. Okay. I hope hindi naman, well, would you describe this as dark-ish? Kasi parang, yun nga, I mean, this is your take on self-love. And it's not the usual things that we hear.
I won't say na it's a dark piece, a dark, but I would say it's a hot take because you see a lot of people preaching about self-love to the
Right.
point that it kind of becomes selfish na. So that's why
Oh.
it's titled Selfish Love. Yung ISH ng selfish
Ah.
hindi siya klaro sa page. So gray yung font color niya. So people will have to double take on the title to read the selfish. If you can
Okay.
imagine.
Yeah, I can imagine it right now. And I can't wait to get hold of the book with all the description that you mentioned. Parang kailangan talaga, I mean, it's a book that you won't read once. It's a book that you'll probably have to reread again, just for it to sink in. But sometimes it can go like double meaning then. So para, oo, 'di ba? Para sometimes di ba pagod na tayo sa tipong madaling maintindihan. But sort of, kailangan mong mapaisip talaga, when reading poetry. But then again, sabi ko nga, ang dami naming poetry collections out there. And um, our, uh, so one of the challenges has always been getting the original um, vibe. Paano namin ma-explain, how do we pitch this book to people? So especially when we're face to face with readers. So I think from what we've discussed so far, we managed to get a grasp na on what Wrong Words is all about. Okay, so there you have it. I also want to read, a comment from Sir Ron. Wrong Words. I love the title. It will never be wrong to read this. The Absolutely. The papilion on the cover seems to symbolizes the freedom to express our thoughts and bare our souls, even if our words could be wrong.
Wow.
Ayun.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Ayan. So Sir Ron is actually based in Hong Kong. He's one of
Oh,
our eight letters authors as well. So we just had Boulevard of Broken Dreams in the Hong Kong Book Fair a few weeks back. So ayan. So I mean, for those readers out there, for those who are watching us right now, please comment below, what do you think about Wrong Words, Recumbent, and also Paracosm of Serendipity. So para naman mabasa ng mga dear authors natin. So yes, thank you so much, Sir Ron, for all of your comments. And we also have Mardon Hids as well. Uh, parang kaapelido mo ba to? Okay, so there's that. Ayan, salamat. Maraming salamat for watching. So Dan, I can see that, you put in a lot of efforts here, sa Wrong Words. The same thing with Awfuls in Fantasy rin, pati dun sa podcast mo. Do you think, like, what type naman of theme would you explore later on? So kanina sabi mo you'll stick with the poetry, maybe prose genre. But then what are the other themes that are you looking at to write about?
yeah. So I would probably write something more lighthearted for
Okay.
the next, poetry and prose. If ever I write enough pieces to make a collection.
Oo.
So, yeah, I would probably explore more lighthearted themes, like siguro, um, parang the appreciation of little things, finding joy in little things, ganon.
Mhm.
Because I also have a lot of those poems just sitting in my drafts. So they're waiting to be published, you would say. And yeah, if I will write another book that's not poetry and prose, my next
Mhm.
target would be a novel. So I'm writing one right now. It's a contemporary new adult fiction.
Ooh, wow. That's different. So, well, kanina sa dami ng sinabi mo, I want to ask first. I want to ask first. So we have the heavy stuff versus the light-hearted stuff. Um, do you find pleasure in writing either, or ano ba?
Yeah,
Parang
I
gusto mo lang
I
magbago this time.
um gusto ko lang talaga magsulat ng poetry. I really find joy, and I really find it fun to write poetry kasi parang sanay na ako magsulat ng poetry. And
Oo.
if an idea hits or an inspiration strikes, kuha ako agad ng cellphone ko if wala akong notebook dala, and I will write it para hindi ko makalimutan. So, ganun siya. And, our emotion varies at different times in our lives. So, yun, may mga ups and downs naman tayo. So,
Ayun. So, okay, probably my last question, but paano mo napagsasabay lahat? I mean, you're a student, and then you're a writer, you're a podcaster. How are you? Wala ka bang ibang responsibilities? Or paano mo napagsasabay lahat?
siguro it also attributes na I'm kind of workaholic. And
Right?
then, kasi yung college ko is not the normal college thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, last year ko lang din na-discover na may online college pala. So, ganun. So, I'm in an online college, school. Tapos, time is very flexible.
Mm-hmm.
So, ayun, na-manage ko yung time ko to write a book and to finish my education and also plan
Mm-hmm.
for the podcast all in 1 month. So, yeah, it gets hectic, especially this time in August because, ayun
Mm-hmm.
nga, lunch month ng wrong words and, the marketing and all of that. So, it got a little hectic sa August. So, I would really just be relieved if August was over.
Oh, and by the way, you're going to have your appearance then sa Philippine Book Fair. So
Yeah.
Bukidnon, how far is that to Davao?
It's mga 6 to 8 hours, depende.
Wow, parang
Yeah,
Baguio
it's
to
far.
Manila. Okay. Okay, so but I guess I think it'll be an amazing experience going to the Philippine Book Fair and meeting other eight letters authors
Yeah.
as well as the Indie Publishers Collab PH authors because doon sa Davao Book Fair, which is this coming weekend, Friday to Sunday. Hold on. Yeah, so 17 to 20, sorry, 18 to 20. So 18 to 20 August, we'll have the Philippine Book Fair at Davao. Okay, Davao part na. So Danica will be there on the 19th. Okay, but her books will be available na from the 18th to the 20th. And we have very limited copies kasi syempre limited lang. Limited lang yun. So, if I were you guys, if you're not able to get a copy on the 20th, kapag naubusan na kayo, you can always order on our website, Shopee, Lazada as well. Later on, it will also come out as an ebook on Amazon. So there you have plenty of options. But there you go, Danica. If can we invite our viewers right now? Where else can we find you aside from
So,
next week, Davao?
so you can find me on Facebook or Instagram at Danica JD Hinson. My handle is the same lang sa both platforms. Ayun.
Ayun, yan. Don't forget to follow Danica and also get a copy of Wrong Words right now. Right now, you can go to our shop website, okay, eightlettersbooks.com/shop. You can just pretty much add to cart all the books that we've talked today, we talk about today, Recumbent, Paracosm of Serendipity, and Wrong Words. Ayan. So, 3 books agad-agad, poetry collections. Ang gaganda niyan, grabe. So, all are written in English, and so that even if you don't speak Tagalog, I'm sure you're able to appreciate these 3 books. So there you have it. Thank you so much, Dan. Thank you, and looking
Thank
forward
you.
for that. Romance naman, new adult novel. Okay, looking forward to that, Dan. Thank you so
Okay.
much,
Thank
and
you.
bye. Thank you. Okay, so we just had Danica Hinson, author of Wrong Words. So, before we end this book talk with Cindy, which is always held every Saturday here on our Facebook page. Also, you can follow us on YouTube and sa Eight Circles community namin. We always launch books every Saturday from 4 p.m. onwards. Ayan, because we have like plenty of collections. By the way, some upcoming Manila International Book Fair will also launch several novellas. So we're working towards that. And stay tuned because tonight we're going to have a cover reveal for the Mythologia PH the fifth book of the Mythologia PH series. So, pinag-usapan natin ngayon, poetry collections, but we have novels and anthologies as well. So, as I mentioned, once again, we have the novellas. We're going to launch several novellas, hopefully this week. And then we'll have the book cover reveal of Mythologia PH as well as the title. That's exciting. And then we just actually posted the book cover of Stories from Good Street. So this is the first Good Street anthology. And of course, last but not the least, I also want to mention, shout out to Renato Tranquilino, we're going to have our first graphic novel here at 8 Letters. So ayun, ang sipag namin as a publishing company. But yes, so thank you so much once again for the support. And don't forget to mark your calendars in the upcoming book fairs. We have Philippine Book Fair in Davao. We also have the Manila International Book Fair. If you can find us there, or if you're not able to go there, we're always online. We're always you can always get the books on Shopee, Lazada, and also on our website. Once again, thank you very much, and see you next Saturday. Bye.